You're back once again with the Renegade Master, default damager, power to the people. Good morning, good afternoon, and even good night if that's when you're watching this. This is the RetroTech 120p challenge. That is the shapely legs of Chun-Li, and that is Mr. Ryu, who doesn't like wearing shoes. Yes, the RetroTech 120p challenge is as it always has been. You go onto this blimmin' Facebook group and you say, I'm going to take part in this challenge, and what I'll do is I'll practice as many times as I can, and then I will just record my run and use 2 credits and see how far I get. And that is how you do the RetroTech 120p challenge. So yes, hop onto the RetroTech group and join in. Video. Become the video star of your dreams. Become like the wizard with Fred Savage. But in this case, on Street Fighter 2. It's vanilla, it's missionary, it's ready sorted, it's a talk about model trains. But it's important to remember its place in history. Yes, it's not Turbo, it's not Championship Edition, it's not Super Street Fighter, it's none of those alphas, it's none of those 4s, 5s, or even the 6s that don't exist as yet. It is Street Fighter 2. Just plain Street Fighter 2, and I'm sure we'll end up working our way through all of these Street Fighter 2 iterations at some point, because we can't always come up with creative games to play like Pipe Dream, which I won. I'm not really going to be arrogant about that, because I've had a really terrible run of late, and the only reason I won that is because everyone else got bored playing it, because it went on for half an hour. Well, this doesn't go on for half an hour, and nor will I be winning this week, because I've never been very good at Street Fighter 2. I've had it on the Super Nintendo, as I'm sure most of us did do, or the Mega Drive, of course. You might have had it on the Mega Drive. You might have owned it a bit later on one of its later iterations in the Anniversary Collection. But we've all owned a version of Street Fighter 2, unless you haven't. And it is what it is, isn't it? It's an all-time classic. It revitalised the beat-em-up genre. It came out in 1991. It was the sequel to the 1987 Street Fighter 1, which wasn't very good. So it was a miracle, really. It got made. Although I think Street Fighter 1 did okay in the arcades, because people like punching people in the face. And it doesn't matter how bad the game is. So obviously it invented stuff like the combo and things like that. And you had your 8 characters, and it's very strange looking at that menu screen and only seeing 8 characters, because we're all used to like 39 million thousand characters, including different colour schemes nowadays. But yeah, you couldn't play as the bosses. I can't remember if you can play as the same character, but I suspect you couldn't. My memory's not too good on that score. But so Street Fighter 2, what can I tell you you don't already know? The home computer ones were terrible. You knew that already. What are we going to talk about then? Well, it's time for the animal sex fact of the week, or genital facts, giving it its proper moniker. Now, there's, as you see, a lot of humans in this game, and Blanca I always thought was yellow, but everyone tells me he's green, and now I kind of I was wondering what I was thinking of. I don't know. Is he yellow or green? I think he's green. A very sort of olivey green. But yeah, there are animals. As you can see, there's a snake in the background. But I'm going to talk about elephants, because in Dalsim's stage, as I'm sure you can see at the side of the screen there, as my little filler, I've decided to go with elephants, because we haven't covered elephants as yet. And let's face it, we're all dying to know about elephants, because they're quite well hung. Now, how hung are they? Well, male elephants do have a very big penis. It can reach 4 foot long. Yeah, 4 foot long. Wowzers. Now, what you might not know is, if you were to go into a zoo, you might see there's a lot of male elephants there. Well, actually, the lady elephant has a very large clitoris that looks like a penis, called a pseudo-penis. Now, if the male wants to get lucky, the lady will have to retract her pseudo-penis back into her body. Think of it like turning a sock inside out, and then go and be a bit sick. Yeah, it's generally the same length as a male penis, this pseudo penis. It's a trait they share with hyenas. Hyenas also have an enlarged clitoris that looks like a penis. Lovely. What else to tell you? Well, let's talk about the more romantic side of elephants. So, receptive females flirt, and they do this by holding their head high and coquettishly looking over their shoulder at males. Like in a film where like Catherine Zeta-Jones or Scarlett Johansson will walk and they'll be wearing like a lovely ball gown that shows off the small of their back, and they look over their shoulder, and George Clooney instantly gets his little grey pubed erection going. But they're only receptive for about 3 weeks every year. Unfortunate for the fellas if they come home and feel a bit frisky. But how do males get on with sex? Well, they actually have to compete in a trial of strength. They sort of headbutt each other. They start ramming each other, wrestling and pushing. It's never properly violent though. It's sort of like, when you see chavvy teenagers in their sportswear sort of doing that weird boxing where they've obviously watched too many Tyson Fury fights, and they do that little ducky divey thing, and they sort of playfully punch each other on the arm in front of the girl with the Croydon facelift. That is pretty much what elephants are like, only much older, wiser and greyer. So that is the tale of elephants' sex lives. A thing that we can all cherish as we get older, knowing that elephants have sex, I guess. But pregnant for 2 years, though. I mean, woof, that's a lot of ice cream to go through. So yeah, back to Street Fighter, I guess. Yeah, so here we are in Soviet Russia. I've always wondered with Zangief why, he obviously got his scars from fighting bears, but they never look like they've healed. I think, they must be quite infected. Needs to get some Savlon on that at the very least, I think. I've always admired his chest hair, though. The fact it's sort of in the shape of like a phoenix or a bat or something. It's well groomed. Look at that. I mean, that is the very figure of masculinity, that is, isn't it? With his sort of the white Mr. T that he is. I do like the old fella there in his brown jumper just swigging vodka like it's lemonade. I can never work out what kind of factory this was. It's just sort of some sort of industrial complex. And there's that guy is he wearing like blue sunglasses, or is it like a welding mask? It's like Robocop's pink jumper wearing cousin. And there's Father Christmas as well in his little white vest. Or could it be Jeremy Corbyn? Could be, couldn't it? Russia. But yeah, so yeah, working in a Russian factory there's Zangief when he's not wrestling. Who's your favourite Street Fighter character? I don't know my one. I've obviously chosen Chun-Li here, just because I can cheese it out with Chun-Li. I haven't actually set my buttons up right on my joypad. When I played it, it's one of those games you can practice it, but if you're good at it, you're good at it, and you know how good you are at it. So I didn't bother setting up my joypad correctly, and I managed to find where both the kicks are, which were like, I've got PS4 joypad, and they were both on the top of the joypad, like I think the medium and the strong kick, whereas there was like all the punches in a round circle with one kick on it. And with Chun-Li, that's not good. Yeah, I persevered once I figured out the controls. Yeah, not ideal. Obviously, I wanted it to be sort of in the old Super Nintendo layout, and I might have done a bit better. But it's a different game, really, though, isn't it, from the Super Nintendo one? It's not quite the same, although when you look at it, I think in terms of arcade conversions, it's got to be one of the closest arcade conversions, I think, of the 16-bit era. There's stuff like Smash TV. I thought there was an excellent conversion. Sunset Riders was really good arcade conversion. Of course, Turtles in Time on the Super Nintendo. It was capable of doing the odd really good conversion. And then I think on the Mega Drive, I think probably my favourite arcade conversion, Mercs was really good because it had its own little extra sort of mission. It was really good. I was a bit disappointed though with the Mega Drive that they never kind of, when it came out, I always thought with the Mega Drive because it was designed specifically really to kind of showcase a lot of the arcade games in the home, and they were never quite as good. Some were better, but like you'd have thought they'd have the hardware set up so you could play Outrun or something like that on it. But you could play Outrun on it, but it wasn't like a close conversion. Like if they got the sprite scanning in from the off, I'd have been more impressed. That's not to say I didn't like the Mega Drive. I love the Mega Drive. I'm one of those people that got a Mega Drive one year and then the Super Nintendo the next. So in the great console wars, I was right in the middle. Probably preferred the better games on the Super Nintendo, so like your Marios, what have you. And I think, as I come out with that controversial statement, we can safely say that my game is at an end here. So please go and have a look at the other people on the Retro Tech channel. They'll be uploading later on in the week, and they will get much further, and I have no doubt will finish this game because they're bloody experts at it. So join the Retro Tech group, have a go at this, and Kay, thanks and bye.